hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chair. Seeing none. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Subsection 20 until March 31st, 2025. This meeting of the Chatham Select Board is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public folks, if you could be quiet in the back. Thank you, guys. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceeding as provided for the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to the meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 203-386-491#, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams for the link to the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, which is now Xfinity Channel 8 and 1072. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. First action of the evening is to establish a quorum. Select Board Member Nicastro.
Present.
Select Board Member Davis.
Present.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Present.
Select Board Member Shell.
Present.
And Select Board Member Metters is present. We have, a decent agenda tonight. We have approval of set of minutes. We will then move into public announcements and agenda item request. We have two public hearings, one for a utility hearing on Young's Road by Eversource. We have a public hearing for a consideration for an application of new entertainment license at Apalayas at 483 Main Street. Then we will move on to public comment on our business agenda. Our business agenda consists tonight of item A, consider utility license request for 240 George Ryder Road and Zero Bikeway. Item B, consider committee name change for the Railroad Museum Working Group to Railroad Museum Committee. And then we have a series of one-day alcohol permits and entertainment licenses. And we will wrap up our evening with item E, consider a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the Cape Light Compact and Town of Chatham for a part-time energy manager position shared with the towns of Brewster, Eastham, and Orleans. And our final action of the night will be the town manager's monthly report for February 2024. So with all that being said, I will start with approval of minutes for March 18th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any corrections? Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a few. On page 3, in the second full paragraph, second line, where it says the offices, I'd like to add the phrase "and conference room." And then on page 5, on page 4, about 2/3 of the way down, there's a single sentence paragraph that says there were comments expressed that the study went beyond what was expected. I'd like to add a comma and insert this clause, because it demonstrated a re-engineering of the interior of the building, comma. Because it demonstrated a re-engineering of the interior of the building, comma. Then on page 5, second line from the bottom, and I think Mike caught this as well. This is the size of one of the rooms. I think it was 25 feet by 35 feet. And that might explain the difference in area, but I could be wrong. And then finally on page 6, two-thirds of the way down, the paragraph that begins Dave Mott Chatham spoke in favor of it. I think that might be, I'm not sure that he endorsed the proposal. I think he had some favorable comments. I would suggest it be softened to strike in favor of and simply substitute the adverb favorably, spoke favorably. And then finally, in the last line, the project again, comma, and insert 2. The project again, comma, and 2C. what funds are in the town manager's report, fund. Thank you.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, I had some nits and typos that I shared with Kathy. Back to the paragraph on page 5 that Dean adverted to. First of all, I'm not sure what we do about this because, in fact, Mr. Raber, I think his name is, he did say 24 by 24 was 450 square feet. In fact, it's 576 square feet. I don't know how you note that, but you may want to put a sick in there or something. And then, Dean, with respect to the one you asked about, the extension of 10 feet, I think that was a room that was 25 by 35, and if you extend it by the dimension that he was going to extend, it does produce 35 by 35. So I think that's correct. So, thank you.
Okay, any other edits? I just have one. I'll call it a nit, but I'll throw it in there anyway. On page 7, on the roll calls for both, in both paragraphs, if we could just substitute yeses for the present. So,
That's a good catch.
Good catch, Corey. That wasn't a nit.
He read it.
so, if there's no more amendments, all those in favor, Select Board Member DeCastro?
I note that 2 lawyers on the board failed to catch that. Yes. Aye.
So noticed.
Select Board Member Davis?
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens?
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell?
Dean, we keep our eyes on the big picture. Aye.
Got to keep your mind on the present. And Select Board Member Metters says aye. Well, I get to part for a while tonight, so I'm getting my comments in while I can.
So before we leave the subject of minutes, I just want to inquire, I don't believe that we've approved the minutes of March 12th. We postponed them, they're coming sometime.
Yes.
Okay, fine, no problem.
All right. Public announcements and agenda item request. I'll start with the board. Any public announcements or agenda item requests? I will go to the audience. Any public announcements or agenda item requests? Is there anyone online with a public announcement or agenda item request?
Not at this time, no.
I believe our town manager has a public announcement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to invite our retiring harbor master, Stuart Smith, up to the podium to join me for a few citations, which are good citations.
Being arrested.
As long as they're not monetary citations. They're going up by $100, I hear, so.
Thank you. As many of you know, Stuart Smith is retiring after 39 years with the town. And we will be having a last coffee and change of watch scheduled for this Friday at 10 a.m. here at the Annex. And certainly everybody is invited to come in to also bid farewell to Stuart. And then the next step, which I'll get into after you. This is all about Stuart right now. So Stuart, we have a couple of things from the Select Board as well as the state legislature. I'm going to read them and then I'm going to take them back, just so you know. So the first one is the Town of Chatham Proclamation and Resolution. Whereas it is with great appreciation and gratitude that we recognize the career of Harbor Master Stuart F.X. Smith, who has dutifully served our town since 1985, and whereas he served the town throughout the years in the roles of Special Equipment Operator, Wharfinger/Assistant Harbor Master, Acting Harbor Master, and finally as Harbor Master since 1999. And whereas throughout his tenure, Harbor Master Smith has demonstrated a commitment to safety, functionality, and vitality of our waterways, and whereas he has navigated the complexities of harbor management with skill and dedication, ensuring the smooth operation of all maritime activities, and whereas Harbor Master Smith's efforts have not gone unnoticed by many who have relied upon his expertise and leadership in navigating our town waters. And now therefore be it resolved, we, Corey J. Metters, Select Board Chair, and Jill R. Goldsmith, Town Manager, do hereby present to Harbor Master Stewart F.X. Smith this proclamation on behalf of the Select Board, the Town Manager, and all Chatham citizens as a testimonial to his faithful and dedicated service to the community, and with our best wishes for fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. One more, a certificate of appreciation, as we tend to do for our retiring town employees. And this is the Town of Chatham presents a certificate of appreciation to Stuart F.X. Smith, that's such a cool name, FX, for 39 years of service to the citizens of Chatham. Congratulations on your retirement on March 29th, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take this.
The FX was my mother's idea, and I was named after a saint. I'm not sure that worked out as she expected, but nonetheless, I tried.
Okay. This is from the Massachusetts State Senate. Just so you see it, it's very cool.
Very nice, yes.
I'm sure everyone can see this. Sorry, Chatham TV. All right, and this is an official citation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts State Senate. Official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Harbor Master Stuart Smith in recognition of your 38 years of dedicated service to the town of Chatham. And be it known further that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, and this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the clerk of the same. And it is signed by Karen Spilka, who's the President of the Senate, attested by the clerk, as well as Julian Sear as our state senator.
Thank you.
That's dated today. We can hold on. And last. This is from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, and it was delivered by Sarah Peak. She also wrote Stuart a very nice note. I don't know if you want to keep it to yourself or we can read it. As you're taking a look at that, I'll read the citation. It's the Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Harbor Master Stuart Smith in recognition of your retirement following 38 years of dedicated service to the town of Chatham. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. And it is signed by the Speaker of the House, Ronald Mariano, and offered by State Representative Sarah Peak.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words, Stuart?
Yeah, I'll probably say a few on during our change of watch ceremony on Friday. But I appreciate all of this. This was very nice. I've worked with a lot of boards of selectmen, and I really appreciate you folks being so supportive of the department. You truly have. And I don't know how many boards this is, but it's a lot over 39 years. But they truly, even when we might not agree, everybody came together at the end and got the mission done. I really have I can't say enough for the boards of selectmen, town managers, and really the finance committees and the waterways related committees. They're all, I know there's a lot of them, but they all play their role. I appreciate you saying all this, and we're going to leave you in good hands with Mr. Holm. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stuart, I mean, I've served on this board for 9 years. I've known you from this perspective, but I've also grown up in this town, so I know you from that perspective on being on the water, and I thank you very much for your service, and I wish you all the best. I mean, we'll go more formal on Friday, but I sincerely wish you all the best.
Great. Thank you.
Stuart? Hi. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it on Friday because of work, but I do want to extend my appreciation for your service to the community, from Dredge Aunt Lydia's Bottom, Save Chatham's Fishing Fleet, to several of the disasters and emergencies that you've been through. I'm sure you've seen a lot, and you've been an integral part of Chatham's waterways for a very long time, and I appreciate that, and I say thank you for your service.
Thank you. We'll still have to fly that Estonian flag from
Yes,
the Army
we
Corps
do.
days.
Yeah, Stuart, great job for, very difficult waters. We're surrounded on three sides by very different waters, so you've done a great job over time. And really have appreciated your loyalty and your hard work and your tenacity, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
A lot of challenges in that job. It's a big job, especially in this town.
It is, it's a unique waterway.
It sure is.
We say that, we're
But-
kind of used to it,
But
but
it-
when others come into this community,
Yeah.
they kind of shake their head and they say,
Yeah,
you know,
we've got everything.
yeah, we do.
We have everything. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for your service.
Not enough water.
Yeah.
Dean?
Stuart, thank you for your service, and thank you also for your advice and counsel when I've reached out to you. Always very prompt and very candid and very insightful, and I wish you well on your retirement, and I hope you'll stay involved with the town.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Stuart, we've not known each other very long. You did have something of a reputation when I came on the board. All I can say is that you have outstripped that reputation, and I've been extraordinarily impressed in the very short time that I've had to get to know you a little bit and observe what you do for this town. So I thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
All right.
Good night. Thank you.
All right, thank you. See you on Friday. And Mr. Chair, if you can indulge me in one more announcement, I wanted to announce how excited I am to appoint Jason Holm as our new harbor master. That was announced today. And I know Jason's really not a out front type of person, but I just wanted to read, if I could, the introduction memo. And Jason, if you would like to come up, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you anything about this tonight. Thank you. So, as I noted, I'm very pleased to promote Town of Chatham's own Deputy Harbor Master, Jason Holm, to serve as the next Harbor Master. Jason has over 30 years of professional maritime public safety experience and has served as the Deputy Harbor Master for the past 11 years, since July 1st, 2013. And I hired you, so I'm very proud of this moment. During his tenure as Deputy Harbor Master, he's been instrumental in our discussions with the U.S. Coast Guard regarding Station Chatham status and our waterways rescue efforts. As deputy, Jason serves as the Cape and Islands representative to the Massachusetts Harbor Masters Training Council and has been a council member since 2018 and currently presides as chairperson. Prior to his employment with the town, Deputy Holm retired from the U.S. Coast Guard in 2013 after a 20-year career, which included assignments as officer in charge at Station Chatham, Station Provincetown, and Station Merrimack River. Jason resides in Harwich with his children, and in his free time, he enjoys traveling and outdoor activities and spending time with family and friends. And I hear he's now a runner right now, too. That's great. He'll be sworn in as Harbor Master during the outgoing Harbor Master Stuart Smith's last coffee that will be held this Friday, March 29th at 10 a.m. In the small meeting room at the annex, but we can certainly pop in here, expecting a pretty large turnout. So congratulations, Jason.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Very happy for that announcement. All right, we're going to move on to first of two public hearings. We have one for a utility pole hearing. If I could ask the clerk to please read the notice, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Notice is hereby given that the Chatham Select Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, March 26, 2024, at 5:30 p.m. in the large meeting room at the Town Office Annex, 261 George Ryder Road, Chatham, and remotely via Microsoft Teams platform. Whoop, I'm reading the wrong one. Excuse me one second. This is the utility, right?
Yes,
Hang
please.
on one second. I got it right here. Okay. Sorry about that. The Chatham Select Board will hold a public hearing at 5:30 PM on Tuesday, March 26th, 2024, to consider a petition from NSTAR Electric Company, doing business as Eversource Energy, to install a 40-foot by plus or minus of 1.25-inch PVC conduit encased in concrete from new handhold 108/H1A at base pole of 108/1 to customer-installed handhold 108H1B on Youngs Road. The installation is being requested by Eversource to provide new underground service to the customer located at 132 Barn Hill Road. The public is welcome to attend the meeting in person or participate via a link in the meeting's posted agenda. All interested parties are encouraged to participate, the Select Board.
Thank you very much.
Yo.
Who is going to speak on this?
Good evening. This is Julie Longer from Eversource.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. So, as stated, that Eversource is proposing to install the 40-foot plus or minus 1.25 PVC conduit encased in concrete for the new handhole 108/H1A at the base of the pole 108/1 to the customer installed handhole at 108/H1B.
All right, questions or comments? Well, actually, it's a public hearing. So any questions or comments from the audience in-house? I don't see any. Is there any questions or comments for anyone who's online?
None at this time.
All right, now to the board. Any questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval.
They're here, second.
Second.
Oh, further discussion? All those in favor? Select Board Member DeCastro.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. All right. There will be 1 second. Second public hearing, I'm going to turn over to our Vice Chair. I'm going to recuse myself. Basically, be very transparent. My family's had a house on Mill Pond Road for years. It is occupied by a member of my immediate family. When this matter came before us on the Blue Coral, I had recused myself because of the conflict of interest. Thus, that interest still continues, so I am going to recuse myself as a member of a direct abutter, direct family member of a direct abutter, and turn the meeting over to Select Board Member Mike Shell to conduct the public hearing, so.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you read the public notice?
I would be pleased to. Notice is hereby given that the Chatham Select Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, March 26th, 2024 at 5:30 PM in the large meeting room at the Town Office Annex, 261 George Ryder Road, Chatham, and remotely via Microsoft Teams platform to consider a request for a new entertainment license for outdoor live and recorded music for Aplaya Kitchen and Tiki Bar, 483 Main Street. All interested parties are encouraged to participate. Signed, the Select Board.
So this is a public hearing. In the first instance, I will entertain comments, questions, whatever from the public here in the room. And, oh, I'm sorry, the applicant. Please. Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Hello, I'm Tom Deegan, resident of Chatham, owner of Aplaya Kitchen and Tiki Bar. We opened Aplaya last summer as really it was a great experience for us. It was a new concept to town here. It's the first Filipino-inspired cuisine. My wife is Filipina on Cape, and by all measures, we had a really outstanding summer. And there was great excitement about the new space and what we did with it. And throughout the summer and afterward, we've been approached by musicians, customers, members of the community that have expressed interest in seeing if we could do some music as part of the experience down at Aplaya. We've had entertainment licenses before at Mom and Pop's. We also own Mom and Pop's. And, when at various occasions we've had music there, and we've thought it's a nice way to, enhance the experience, give some local artists an opportunity to play some music. There's also a local DJ that would like to do something there. We've actually been approached by the Filipino community as well for potentially having some of the traditional music in the Filipino culture. So it wasn't really something that we had thought about previously doing. We have done it before at Mom and Pop's. We understand and appreciate any concerns around that, but I could ask the board, how many, having the license that we have had at Mom and Pop's, how many issues have we had in the 7+ years that we've operated there with our license? And if you don't know the answer, it's 0. We're very respectful of our neighbors. We have 0 interest in having any problems when it comes to having entertainment or imposing on the neighbors in the community. We do think it is a nice way to enhance the experience for our guests, provide something fun for people. Also, it's a benefit to where our space at Playa is located. It's in a courtyard kind of in the back, and you have to walk past other businesses to get there. So it certainly would be a benefit to those other businesses and surrounding businesses. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions that people have. I have seen some emails that have come in, and I'd be happy to address those as well.
Okay. Questions from the public? Yes, you need to step to the podium and announce your name and residence.
Yeah, I'm Chris Craven. We have the house at 10 Mill Pond, which would be pretty close to the Playa. And the concerns are obviously noise and hours of operation. So we want to make sure that the noise levels are tolerable and that it doesn't run too late. I can certainly understand why you would want to have somebody making music, but there are a lot of houses around there, and if it goes into the evening, it will be a conflict.
Yeah. To that point, I think we would be more interested in having music more during the day and maybe the very early evening. At a Playa and even Mom and Pop's, we don't stay open as late as we're actually allowed to. Mom and Pop's closes in the summertime at 8. A Playa, we could stay open later. We close it at midnight. So, we're not looking for this. And I don't know if anybody was there last year. We wanted to create a very nice environment and aesthetic to our space. It was really important for us to do it right, given the cultural aspect, and my wife's being Filipina and this being the first restaurant here. So we really care about what we're doing there. This is not something that we're looking to just create a big party spot. I think what we have created is a spot where people my age or even a little younger at this point now, because I'm getting older. But anyway, it's a little bit of a different demographic that's going there. And I think what we're finding is that we're getting a demographic that's kind of looking to avoid some of maybe the crazier atmospheres that might be out here during the summer, and they want to enjoy themselves. I'm happy to not have this go on later in the evening. And frankly, when there's questions about, policing this or making sure, that's what we do. I don't want to run a business where anything is out of control. We don't like that. I personally don't like that. That's not why we're doing this. It really is to create something that's enjoyable for our guests. And I'd be happy to cut it off at a particular time. That's no problem by me. Again, I think our idea would be having it earlier, maybe in the daytime and very early in the evening as it is, so.
Dee Dee, are you waiting to speak?
Thank you, Dee Dee Holt, Striper Lane, just right near the Playa. I know you've gotten several emails. Were you going to address any of those, or, because some of the people who wrote the emails are here. There's about half a dozen of us, I guess.
Yeah, we have, I have 9 letters, emails, whatever. I'm told that there may be at least one more that I don't have in the pile, so it may be 10 or more. The spread between plus and minus was 3 in favor, again, maybe with conditions, but 3 generally in favor, and the balance opposed. The question, I mean, I would encourage the people, if they're here, to come up and express their opinions here. I really am reluctant to force everybody to listen to me read 10 letters
Okay.
or 9 letters. They will be part of the record, that, for whatever that's worth. But if there are people here who've written letters, I would encourage them to come up and, you know, you want to read the letter, fine. Or if you would prefer to just express your opinion, you're welcome to do that. So one last thing. I have skimmed most, if not all of them. The concerns are time of the evening at which it's cut off, amplification versus no amplification, and days of the week. I think that's a rough summary of what I've seen of the concerns in the letters.
Yeah, that's probably right. We've been here before, though, as I think I put in my email, that Blue Coral had asked for something similar, and they were granted acoustic music only. And I'll let their neighbors speak, you know, for themselves, but, you know, we're very close to Main Street. We like to enjoy our property, and to have this in addition to this, to do a Squire patio and the other activity in the neighborhood, it just really becomes very intrusive and affects us to be able to enjoy our property sitting outside in late afternoon, you know, on into the evening. So I'll leave it at that and let the others express themselves.
Can I just address one?
Thank you.
One aspect
Sure.
of that? And I do, and thank you. I did receive or saw one of the emails from a Margaret Hecht, and you know, I understand the situation here, but I also think there's some fear mongering here and some bias, to be blunt. And I know the letters of support that have said that, and you know, I think there's maybe 10 letters out there. There's a whole lot of people that either have chosen not to attend or respond, and that's, you know, I guess kind of typical. But you know, one of the letters said something, a number of them have referenced another business that is not us. And I think in those kinds of conversations, nobody wants to be judged on the actions of somebody else. I don't think that's fair in any way. I think we have to be judged on what we have done as a business here, how we've operated as a business here, who we are as owners. So I really, when I see things like that, I don't think anybody would like to be judged based on the actions of their neighbors. That you are who you are, and you operate based on who you are as individuals and what your approach is as a business. So just taking that off the table, we saw one of the emails said, just we're sure that'll be loud and be played well past an agreed upon time and difficult to police. I mean, that's just, it couldn't be any further from the truth. And that's the definition of fear-mongering and bias up front. We have a great relationship with the police. I connect with the police all the time. The last thing I want to do is put police in a bad situation. We do have at the restaurant bouncers. When I advise them, like, what do I want you to do? I mean, your judge, I don't want them in fights. I don't want any of that stuff. You know, our job is, if there's anybody that's even approaching being in a bad way, in one way or another, is to, you know, go to the police. And we're happy to report we did not have any situations like that in the summer, and that's a pretty difficult thing to pull off, considering you know, people like to have a lot of fun in the summer. So what I just want to make sure when we're talking about these things that, you know, we are considering who we are as a business and not some of the other things that have been experienced from maybe other establishments. And I think if there's an issue with those establishments, that's a conversation that should not include us.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
John Charles, 28 Mill Pond Road. Hi, Mike. I've lived there almost 50 years and lived through iterations of this before. And I have worked with, like, David Oppenheimer on when he did the development for quiet and buffering. And I worked with Christian's Restaurant when they were opening, and they put up signage that you're in a neighborhood when you get in the parking lot and you need to be quiet. To your point about prior business, the Blue Coral prior owner There was one night it was so loud with amplified music, I called the police and they came out. I did not know at the time you needed to request them to bring a decibel meter, so there was no direct measurement. So I called the restaurant and I spoke to the owner, and he said blatantly, "No, that's the Squire, that's not us," and hung up the phone. And so I want to avoid, I like the idea of entertainment, acoustic, and a set time or a set few days a week, but nothing that's, it needs a boundary. And because it's so close to our neighborhood, we need to have a boundary. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm entirely happy with that and coming up with a solution. One thing just to consider when we're talking about the noise level, we are a restaurant, so we have no interest, I have no interest in blaring music while people are dining. I don't think our customers and our diners would enjoy that. So again, we have no interest in doing that. And I think some of the comments again that we're hearing are about either a different establishment, one next door, or a prior establishment. And we have, like I said, we have zero interest in having issues with the neighbors. And if it is something that is even perceived at that, I don't want to get into situations. I know there's other towns that have had issues and it gets ugly. I have zero interest in that. And if that's the case, then we stop doing it. We really want it to be enjoyable. I don't think you find restaurants where people are dining with music as part of the aesthetic where that music is blaring. A big part of what we're doing is the cuisine, and so we want people to enjoy it.
Next, yes, sir.
My name's Charles Horan. I live on Mill Pond Road with my wife and daughter. I want to thank the members of the Select Board for allowing us to address our grievances in this case. I'll give you a brief history of the property in question. At one point, there was no there. Nothing was there. I don't think anyone figured what they could do with it, and it took a while. Somebody finally started I think it was a lunch business, and they lasted a short period of time. I think there was a little coffee shop in there, and of course the Blue Coral and their request for live music and amplified music. I'd like to talk a little bit about the noise level, because what Mr. Deegan is talking about, he doesn't really, I don't think there's any way to control the noise level. In the summertime, I'm sure some of you have seen the long lines out the Squire waiting to get in so they can do whatever it is they do around 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And now with the new addition to the Squire, I'm really worried that that's a problem. That hasn't been addressed. Usually when there's some focus on the music itself, I think we miss a little bit. And what I'm saying specifically is the noise level of the patrons. You don't have to be playing an instrument or blaring out music for it to affect us being those of us who live in the neighborhood in a pretty close proximity to this site. And I think we could all agree that the longer the night goes, the louder the crowd goes. And I think we can figure out what that means. Mr. Deegan, I think he's a very shrewd businessman, but he hasn't said really too much about, this is their exotic menu. There's 11 original cocktails, if you will, which tells me that the emphasis here is going to be on alcohol consumption. This is off their website. Now, this reminds me of my college days long time ago, but this tells me that one of the draws to this particular establishment is going to be alcohol and having fun.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Deegan has an alcohol permit. I don't think that's the intention of the discussion
Fair
here
enough,
today.
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. Having a permit doesn't address any of the things that I'm talking about. I'm not saying they're doing something illegal if they get the permit, which I hope they don't. But let's be fair to the neighborhood. What this looks like, feels like, sounds like is a request for an open-air nightclub.
Well,
It's-
with all due respect, the issue here is noise and how to control that or not at all.
Yeah.
And if you could address those issues, I think that'd be
Well,
helpful.
I think I did. Alcohol, all right, is part of the problem. When you're talking about what's the noise level going to be like, I would say there's a direct correlation between the amount of alcohol being consumed and the noise level. So,
Okay, point taken.
okay. So I just want to say that I consider this to be a request for an open-air nightclub, which I don't think belongs anywhere near there. And my feeling is that this is the wrong business, in the wrong place. We live in Chatham. We don't live in Margaritaville, which is what this kind of looks like. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Deegan?
If I may.
Yes.
And, just the, I'm not going to let somebody slander our business and what we've done there. I am assuming that you actually never went to our restaurant.
Now,
And
if
let's-
you'll
let's
address,
just-
please
sorry.
address the comments this way.
The name of
please.
our restaurant is Playa Kitchen and Tiki Bar, first and foremost kitchen. We have some of the finest chefs on Cape Cod working for us, and we are absolutely food forward. You chose to ignore the other side of that, which had our food menu, and we put out some of the best food that you're gonna find on Cape Cod and beyond. We're incredibly proud of that. In no way are we Margaritaville. And, if people like to have fun in the summertime, God bless. That's what they're trying to do here. But the idea that we are just there to sling drinks at night, we put up the chairs in our dining area or get them even there. We don't want massive crowds coming in there of people that have been drinking already. It is not who we are, or nor is it what we want. We do everything that we can do to control that. And in fact, again, we have the ability, if we wanted to tack on another hour of operation. We don't. We want to close it before people get to a point where they become a problem for us. And we have, again, no interest in dealing with that kind of people.
Thank
So-
you. Mr. Oppenheim?
David Oppenheim. My family, we own the Mayflower Complex. Many of you remember when that was built, and we had 29 public hearings before it was finally permitted, and a lot of it had to do with noise, not restaurants. We were restricted against having a restaurant, which we went along with. We've had long-term tenants. There's only been one changeover, and long-term residential tenants, and all of our apartments are rented year-round to people that live and work in Chatham. I've talked to, just outside recently, and just talked to my tenants to see what their feelings are. I'm a big proponent of business. I think what was done by this gentleman, the restaurant that's been opened, everything I've heard about it is excellent. I'm not a judge of food or anything else. But I think you also have to consider the neighborhood. I often talk to some of the neighbors once in a while when we get a complaint there's too much traffic. I mean, that's what we live with. If you choose to live downtown, you have to deal with traffic. It's the way it is. If there weren't traffic, people wouldn't be making a living. And so I don't want to speak negatively about the business or even this proposal in general. I do think when somebody uses the word fear-mongering to describe legitimate concerns, I take issue with that. I take issue with bias. I don't have any bias. I think people that live there have legitimate concerns based on their experience living in the area. we, as the owners of the property, we're always conscious of making sure the shrubs are properly taken care of, and if there's any noise complaints, and usually our noise complaints are coming from abutting businesses, especially over some of the big nights that happen, 4th of July weekends. I think there's potentially a reasonable way to do this. I think the applicant mentioned something about a disc jockey. Maybe I misunderstood. I don't think that's a good idea. I think potentially daytime music might be something that would be palatable. I can tell you that my tenants, the residential tenants, I mean, all the stores at the Mayflower usually close around 9 o'clock. I think people downtown are used to having events. I believe we have Mondays on Main. I don't remember the band shut off. It's either 8 or 9 o'clock. I don't remember which. And that's around various parts of town, and people enjoy that. So I think if you can come up with something, and some of my tenants may not, are generally against this, but I have to be consistent, and I feel we need to be able to promote businesses in a reasonable way. So the idea of acoustic music, no amplification. The idea, the disc jockey, when you start talking about microphones and things like that, you're going to increase noise level. I think, as he said, their main interest is creating an atmosphere during the daytime and perhaps into the early evening. So I don't know what would be a reasonable cutoff time, but I know some of my tenants are working and they go to bed at 9 o'clock because they have to be up at 6:30 or 7 to get to work. As I said, we rent all of our apartments on a year-round basis because we're committed to doing that, and not seasonal. So these are people that need to have their sleep, but also have to accept the fact that they live downtown, and there will be a certain amount of noise level, especially during the season. So if you do consider this at all, I suggest you put very strict requirements on it, that it's acoustic, non-amplified music at all. There'd be no microphones involved with any sort of thing, and that the cutoff date be at what anybody might consider a reasonable hour for people to retire and go to sleep, as it goes. We're right next to it. There's no protection whatsoever. I'm not comparing it to the Squire. That's an animal unto itself. We have the Wayside, which I formerly owned. We had restrictions when we had entertainment licenses. So there may be a way for you to do it, but I think you have to, again, I don't like the word fear-mongering and bias. I see no bias or fear-mongering to legitimate concerns, and quite frankly, that bothers me that was said. So I think that if you do something, it should be very restrictive. And if it works, maybe a one-year test, and if it works, fine. And if the hours need to be adjusted, they can always be adjusted. But I would be very limited to start with to see if it can be friendly for the neighborhood. And if it can't, it can't. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been going to the public here because I don't see any hands raised online. There is nobody waiting online?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir. Just, if you could be brief here.
Yeah, real brief. Just with regard to recorded music, I don't know what people think of a DJ is, but just playing recorded music, we're not exactly. So, and actually, the individual that wants to do that is involved with one of the businesses here locally. He's involved with the Merchants Association, so I think he understands this town and understands what we would be looking for. So just to exclude somebody that's going to be playing recorded music with the idea that some crazy DJ yelling into a microphone, that's just not what it's going to be. That's a misrepresentation. So.
Next, sir.
Good evening. My name is Joe Ryan. I live at 27 Shattuck, which is just at the back of the parking lot behind the Squire. And we have enjoyed both food and drink at the Playa and said hello more than once, and have found them to be respectful neighbors. With respect to the noise there, I think there's a few considerations. One is it's an environment, and it's just not La Playa, and they're going to be able to contain that noise themselves, or be buffered from the noise coming from the outdoor part of the Squire, right? The noise begins at 7 o'clock in the morning there or earlier, with the utility trucks coming in and the garbage and all of that, right? But the Squire, with the pandemic, I don't know exactly what the rules are, but the outside part of the Squire, there's a din of noise coming from that, and I think they have at least the ability to play the radio or recordings outside till 10 o'clock, and they do shut it down, but there's a lot of noise, and then the parking lot is still active even after I think they do shut off alcohol outside at 10. But my concern would be that in order for La Playa to be able to play music, they're going to have to, they are right next door to that, and for them to have their patrons enjoy the music, it's going to have to be pretty loud. So, the other thing I would note is that the application said music all day, every day from the license was, or the application was from 10 o'clock in the morning, noon till 10 o'clock at night. And I think that the prospect of that din, of that noise consistently during those times, 7 days a week, would be more than we'd want as neighbors. So.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Nick Heaney. I'm in 475A, and I'm butter to the property. And I do enjoy the menu. I enjoy the mocktails and enjoy the technology there. That's a great aspect of Playa. I'm glad for them to have them as a neighbor. And as a vegetarian, they have great food options. But I am very concerned about the noise level living next door. And there needs to be restrictions, and I think restrictions on amplification and just microphones and that kind of stuff, and time limits as well.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Riley.
Thank you. I represent the elephant in the room, Chatham Squire. And we'd like to say that if we think that we would be entitled to parity in terms of permissions granted for outdoor entertainment, right now we have a patio where we're not allowed to have outdoor entertainment, and we'd like to be able to provide it. And we think if you're going to give the, I don't know the name, the Playa permission to have outdoor entertainment, we'd also like to have outdoor entertainment. Thank you.
Just one question. When you say you're not allowed, has the Squire applied for outdoor entertainment?
No, because of the way you guys addressed our patio use, we didn't think there was much prospect of that being granted. But if Playa is going to have outdoor entertainment right next door to us, we'd like to be able to provide whatever they're able to provide. So if you say, okay, you can have acoustic music until 5 p.m., well, we'd like to be able to do the same thing. So whatever you grant, we're going to be coming in with an application to do the same thing. And we just wanted to let you know that we think fairness would dictate a result that gave us the same permission that they have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody? Yeah, Joe.
Could someone brief us on what the Squire's patio rules are, Bill? Perhaps you know what the general parameters.
Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, this isn't a hearing about the Squire.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really don't have anything further. We'd be happy to, when you fill out the application, you want to at least put that out there, and if we want to scale back hours, that's fine. Days, we don't quite know because different musicians are available different days. Like I said, we are not looking to create a major issue here. If it's not something that works, then we move on. But I do think it would be a nice aesthetic. I do think there are a lot of people that would like to have this, and I think our space being enclosed a little bit below is conducive to it.
Thank you. Let me turn it over to the board. Mr. Nicastro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first I have a question for Shauna. I think she's on. Shauna, there was notification from the assessor's records for all the butters within 200 feet. Is that a bylaw requirement, a statutory requirement? I wonder where the two...
It's not a requirement. It's consistent with the noise bylaw
Okay.
distance.
All right, thank you. Just a couple of questions of Mr. Deegan, if you would. Yeah. So you indicated a willingness to truncate the hours. I mean, how?
Sure.
Well, let me just throw some times at you. And I appreciate what you applied for, I understand.
Yeah.
9 o'clock, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that's fine by me. If it's more agreeable, 8 o'clock's fine by me.
You talked about, various folks have, and I've read it, I think others as well, I've read every single letter and email that has come in. Are you set on amplified music, or would you be amenable to just acoustic music?
So I guess the only thing is going back to, because we have a specific DJ that wants to play recorded music, and I don't see how you're able to do that. Even background music at a restaurant, you need to be able to hear. So I don't know how that works in that kind of arrangement. You know, a acoustic only, again, how are people able to hear that? I don't know. Mondays on Main, is amplification used on the street for any of the performers out there? You know, I don't know what levels they're allowed to play to on the street. You know, it is not going to be a concert venue. It's certainly not going to be an outdoor nightclub or anything like that. The space really isn't conducive to that. There's dining going on, so we don't want to blare or interrupt people's enjoyment while they're dining. So I to answer your question, I don't know how acoustic only people would be able to hear it, but I also understand what you're really getting at is, you know, you don't want the amplified music getting too loud. And then my question is, well, let's say the musicians at Mondays on Main, how are they able to control the noise levels to be at an acceptable decibel so that it's not too loud?
If it's recorded music, is that played through a speaker?
It would have to be. It would have to be.
How many patrons is your restaurant licensed for? Do you recall?
I'd have to look.
Maybe Shauna might know.
It's in the 60s, I believe. I think that's
Does
what
that
the
include
seats
the
are.
bar?
Yeah.
Okay. Just one last question. You talked about the connection between this music proposal and I guess I would call it the cultural nature of the restaurant, and I certainly appreciate the business that you have run in the town. I remember when you first came before the board for Mom and Pops. Is this proposal, however it might be limited, if it's granted, critical to your business model?
Nope. We did not seek this out last year. I could have come before. It's people had interest in it. And so we've operated our businesses here, you know, whether it be with our truck or at Mom and Pop, however it is, we've tried to do things that create a great atmosphere for people, support local, in this case, it would be local musicians. We've supported other local businesses in the past, and so people have come to us. This is not something that we have, you know, deemed as critical to our business. And like I said, if it's a problem, I'm going to be willing to get rid of it because I don't like problems with our business. I really don't need it, so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Sheree?
Thank you. Tom, I have a question for you. Just a description in your detail of events.
Yep.
You mentioned live artists, recorded music, and potential cultural performances.
Yeah.
Do you have an example of that?
So in the Filipino culture, there actually is kind of like a performance dance almost. And we've talked about with the cuisine that we offer, one of the, you know, having a roasted pig, basically, and there's almost a kind of a celebration around it. So, you know, organizations have approached us, would we be open to having kind of that performance dance with the music, and it's basic. You'd have to see it. My wife could describe it a whole lot better, but that's
I
the
get the
idea.
gist.
It'd be kind of a cool thing, but that's what that represents.
I get the gist of that. I have a question for Shauna. Oh yeah, there she is. Shauna, when we had another applicant in West Chatham, Dogfish Cafe, come before us, there was a lot of concern about the neighborhood and stuff. And I can't remember how we permitted their entertainment license. I believe it was certain hours, and it was acoustic. Am I correct? And can you tell me what those hours were?
It is acoustic music. It is, however, amplified. They don't crank it up, if you will. But that is the very similar sort of outdoor venue. The Dogfish Taco, I believe they restrict their hours to closing at like 8 or 8:30. So it's not, they are just not open late in the evening.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Mike. Tom, was the vision, while folks are dining, what was your vision of what kind of music would be happening while you're dining there? So say I arrived there at 6 p.m., I'm here for dinner, what kind of music did you want to have me hear?
That's a good question. Nothing, nothing aggressive, you know, I'm thinking of something that is part of the aesthetic. It'd be great if you could have jazz or something like that, which we're not. I mean, that would be really cool on a Sunday to have just some nice jazz music there in the early afternoon. I get it now with the acoustic and the amplification. That is something that, yeah, I'm not thinking like electric guitars or anything like that. I don't want it to be you're sitting here having dinner and somebody's blaring away an electric guitar next to you or something like that. So appropriate music for Cape Cod in our setting. I think it would be cool if we could find somebody doing jazz music. I think it would be cool if it is somebody that's just playing pleasant music in the background while people are dining.
Yeah, we have to be really cognizant and sensitive to the surrounds there. It is tight there, and it's tight.
Yeah.
It's a very tight area of town, and you know, I think we need to be consistent as a board. I'm not going to go for amplification, to be honest with you. So I don't know how the DJ thing would work, to be honest with you. And if we do approve, you know, I would vote for acoustic only and very limited hours. I don't know what time you want to start early in the day. I mean, you know, happy hours. Do you have a happy hour down there? Or?
No.
Okay. So 4 to 8 or 4 to 9 or something.
Well,
I could go with.
we're not going to open until noon this year.
Yeah.
So.
But you'd be open at 4 in the afternoon. You'll be open at 4 in the
Oh,
afternoon.
yeah, we'll be open at 4.
So
But I mean,
I'm talking about, you know, 4 to 8 or whatever, you know, 4 to 9.
I think it would be nice because, you know, we're looking to, my preference would be earlier in the day as something that's during the early dining period. So as opposed to something at night that's drawing in big crowds for music, that's not what we're looking to do.
To be honest with you, the way I read your application, I wasn't anticipating a DJ per se or having an amplified system, if you will. I wasn't. What I read and what I understood was that there'd be some, you know, more appropriate, you know, Filipino acts and music and stuff that was kind of fit in with the ambiance of the restaurant where you were serving there. So that's the kind of context I brought to it. I didn't read DJ. So that gives me pause.
Yeah.
That's all.
DJ, again, if you're thinking about a DJ that's on a microphone yelling to a crowd, I have no interest in that in our restaurant. But if somebody is playing music in the background that's, you know, a DJ, but not somebody that's like taking requests from something like that. That's not who we are.
So those are my thoughts. I mean, you know, you need to be very, very sensitive.
People came to us. We thought we'd explore it. We're exploring it, and we want to make it work. If it's a thing, if it's not exactly.
Well, we have precedents with Dogfish and with Blue Coral. They applied a few years ago, and we said no acoustics whatsoever. I mean, no amplification whatsoever. And I think we need to be consistent if we're going to do anything. Thanks.
Yeah, I would certainly endorse generally what Jeff and my other colleagues are saying. I'm all for the multicultural aspects of what you're talking about. I love the idea of attracting younger people, younger than you, and certainly younger than us. But I also want to be sensitive to the concerns of the neighborhood. As Jeff says, this is a unique spot. And we need to be very concerned about that. We're kind of zeroing in a little bit on times. You know, you said 4. I got the impression that's a little tight for you. Are you trying to hit the lunch crowd?
It would be, to me, I think it'd be more enjoyable earlier. Again, we're not, when you say attracting younger, we're not looking to add this as something like that, just so we're clear. We're happy with the demographic that's in this room. We're happy, you know
I
what
took you at your comment
Yeah.
about younger than yourself, and I don't know how old you are, but
Yeah,
younger
no,
than
older
yourself,
every
we'll leave
day.
it at that. I think 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'm
Fine
a
by
lot more
me.
comfortable with that.
Yeah.
The one issue here, and amplification, I think, is out. Acoustic, the only thing that I stumble a little bit with is the notion of the DJ. You know, if somebody's just going to come, does the restaurant have a sound system?
No.
It does, so this would be speakers brought in to accomplish that,
Yes.
as would be the case with a band or whatever.
Yeah, we don't have a.
I mean, I guess I'm a little reluctant to have speakers come in specifically for that purpose.
Well, if we say like Dogfish, I don't know, I'm assuming musicians generally bring their own, but anytime we've had it, mom and pop, musicians have their own equipment. That's just how it works.
Right, well, I think we're stumbling on
Yeah.
amplification generally here, so I'm not sure that we're over the hump on that. The question, if I could, Shauna, is this a one-year thing so that we get this in a sense is experimental to the extent that we grant anything for a year?
Yes, entertainment licenses are on a calendar year basis.
Okay, so-
Renewable generally in November.
Okay, I guess I'm sort of in the neighborhood of if you want to push it a little bit earlier, but cut it off at 8, acoustic only, no amplification, and see where we are a year from now is kind of where I am.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, any further conversation?
There's a gentleman who's spoken before. I don't know if you want to recognize him.
All right, we'll let you have 2 minutes. Sir. You need to come to the microphone.
I feel like something's missing here. My house is maybe 100 yards from this proposal, and I know that there's someone who lives literally, if this is the end of La Paya, the boundary is maybe closer than that podium, and it doesn't seem like it's getting the attention it deserves. Can you imagine 60 people or more packed into that space with music blaring, okay?
The issue here is noise only, music only. The number of people is beside the point.
Well, it has to do with the noise, doesn't it?
The
number of
license that
people
we
that
are
are in that-
considering is an entertainment license.
Right, right. And we're saying, as neighbors, we're saying, well, wait a minute, have you considered this? Have you considered this? Have you considered this? And to be honest with you, everything that comes up, Mr. Deegan seems to have an answer for, but I can tell you that the Blue Coral had problems like that. And I have one more question. What is the bylaw? Somebody mentioned the bylaw earlier, for the distance before you can complain and something will happen? What's the distance?
I think it's 200 feet, I think, isn't it?
Well, there's one that's mentioned in the town, I guess, the bylaws, peace and good, something or other, and I think it's 150 feet. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Sorry,
150 feet is not very far. And so that means if the noise level passes 150 feet, I can call who? The police or, talk to the manager of the La Paya?
You can
We
make a
had this problem
complaint,
with the
you can
Blue
speak to
Coral.
you can speak to the management, you can speak to the police.
And then what?
The complaint will be investigated and dealt with as is appropriate.
Well, that could be a lot of complaints, because we're not talking about a very far distance, and I still can't believe somebody hasn't decided that with 60 people in the room, people drinking, the outdoor atmosphere, and there's no consideration to that?
We've heard you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Deegan, and then we're going to,
And again, I just to offer it up to any neighbors, and I'd be happy to speak with anybody on an individual or group basis to talk about any concerns outside of this. Like I said, we're good neighbors where we operate. If it's a problem, you know, this is not something that we are going to close up shop if we don't get it. We're fine one way or another. Just thought it was a nice aesthetic, and we thought we'd be supporting local musicians. And I'll
thank
leave it
you.
with that.
There's one other speaker. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm James Fleischman. I live at 14 Mill Pond, so I literally abut right up to the property. I thought you were really professional last summer, respectful. At the same time, I mean, we can literally hear the silverware clinking and the dishes. So I can't see how any amplified music would work out. If he was going to want to go for an early setting, I think 5 p.m. would be the cutoff line. You know, he could do a lunch, music at lunchtime. You know, I want to see you succeed, but it's such a small area, and it is very close. It doesn't take much I can hear your music played over the radio. So, and I know you're not playing it loud, it's still just present. So that's kind of how I feel about it. The noise is an issue, and yeah.
5 o'clock would be fine by me as well.
Okay, thanks.
We're pretty flexible, so.
Thank you. Any further? Keen?
Mr. Chair, so we didn't discuss a start time for allowing.
I thought we said 4 o'clock.
No,
Well, actually, I did say 3 or 4. You're right. Thank you.
Mike, just throw in the days of the week, right? It's a 7-day-a-week permit.
At the moment, the motion is 7 days a week. Yes. Yes, sir.
So there's a motion on the table, but I want to speak to the motion. So I thought I heard Mr. Deegan say 5 o'clock as a shut-off time?
Yeah, I mean, but I thought so we applied it to start at noon, because that's when we open. I think, you know, I don't think noon is too early, personally. If 1 is better, 1 to 5, but I guess I just really wouldn't think noon was an issue. What was the last thing? But yeah, so.
Mr. Chairman, could I just, since people have talked about later hours, I'd like to get a sense, I don't know if people want to raise their hands, I know that's not totally representative of the neighborhood, but I'd like to know if 5 o'clock is acceptable for those that were pretty concerned about a later time. Is anybody willing to?
Is that acoustic only?
Yes, I'm talking acoustic.
I'd be for that. 5 p.m., no acoustics and no DJ, basically.
Not
I
every
mean,
day.
excuse me, acoustics, no
Is anybody
amplification,
opposed to a 5 o'clock? Anybody opposed to a 5 o'clock?
I'm opposed 7 days a week, yes.
Are there days, so you put 7 days a week on an application. I guess my question is there, what days are better than other days?
I might want to listen to my own music, so I don't really want to hear it 7 days, so maybe
Oh.
on a weekend.
Point of order, Mr.
Yeah, no.
Vice Chair, through the Vice Chair,
Yeah,
please.
I guess.
I apologize, I just wanted to get a sense of the audience. I am concerned about setting a precedent for that general location, because we heard from a direct neighbor who said they're going to come in with a request of their own for their open outside area. And that does concern me. 5 o'clock, Mr. Deegan's very generous to offer that, certainly is more acceptable, at least as a trial for a year.
Well,
This is a really hard one.
It's hard, but let me come back and take up the issue of days of the week. Are there days of the week short of 7 days a week that would be, that you think you could make work? And this is really about,
Yeah, I
satisfying
mean-
your customers and perhaps some competition elements.
Yeah.
And the question is every day of the week the same as every other
Honestly,
day?
we were
or-
not exactly thinking of doing something every day of the week. We have a DJ that has reached out for sure and other musicians that are, but we don't have anything that is concrete around the days. Me personally, I kind of think a Sunday is nice with some music with dinner, or lunch. That's kind of a cool thing to have for a place. During the week might be nice, just because if it is a way for people to come in and, maybe it's just a way in the summer days when people might be at the beach or something like that. But other than a Sunday, I'm not exactly wedded to any one particular day. Frankly, on other days when it's busier, I would sort of almost prefer not to do the music because I don't want it to be too much. So,
Can you give us 3 or 4 days a week that you would like to have the option to do it 1 to 5 acoustic only?
yeah, how about, a Sunday, if that's okay. I wouldn't want to do it on a Friday. You've got the band concert. A Saturday is too much as it is. Maybe a Sunday or Wednesday, Thursday, something.
Sunday, Wednesday,
Monday,
Thursday.
Wednesday, something like that.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would like to withdraw my motion.
Go ahead.
I would like to move that we grant the entertainment permit for Sunday. What'd you say, Wednesday?
Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday? Is that okay?
Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 to 5, acoustic only.
Sure.
Second.
Any further discussion on the board? All those in favor, Mr. Nacastro?
I'm going to vote yes, but I would make a note that if anyone else comes in for an application that's a neighbor, they're going to be subject to the same restrictions.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
And Mr. Shell says aye. We're done.
Tom, good
Thank
luck.
you. Thank you.
Yep,
Yeah.
Take care. Good luck.
Thank you.
We're just going to take a moment as the audience clears out.
Oh, I don't know. But he was a pain in the ass. And plus, I'm glad I didn't say it, but what Dean's worried about is they're not coming.
Folks, if we could just take the conversations outside into the hallway, please.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, and not only that, there was a whole, well, it was the planning board that really.
Gentlemen, we still have a meeting to conduct. Thank you very much.
All right. As the room is clearing out, we're going to move on to public comments on our business agenda. Since the majority of our in-house audience has vacated the room, is there any public comments on our business agenda this evening from our in-house audience? Is there anyone online with a comment on our business agenda this evening? I don't see any.
None at this time.
None at this time, okay. Business agenda, item A, consider utility license requests for 240 George Ryder Road and Zero Bikeways, which is off of George Ryder Road for Verizon. No public hearing is required. I know the representative was not available tonight. I made the decision that we could put this on to consider. If the board is comfortable with it, we can move it forward. If there's any major questions, we can always continue it. So I will open up to the board for any questions or comments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
This is very straightforward. I move that we approve the application. This is basically to place some utility poles on town property associated with the bike path on either side of the of George Ryder Road.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second, further discussion. All those in favor, Select Board Member DeCastro.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. Item B, consider committee name change, the Railroad Museum Working Group to Railroad Museum Committee. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I see that Terry Whalen, who's the staff liaison to the Railroad Museum Working Group, and I believe Gil is on, who is the chair.
Good evening, guys.
Your camera's on.
Gentlemen. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, this is Gil Sparks. I'll just say that our group is presently and has been for some years subject to all the requirements of a town committee. We get selected by the select board after interviewing. We take the ethics test. And it just seemed appropriate that, and we work hard, it just seemed appropriate that we be given the same status as the rest of the town committees. Our group did request that the select board, at its convenience, take up the matter. It's obviously not a critical thing, but I think it's appropriate and would ask that it be given favorable consideration.
All right, thank you very much. Questions from the board? Dean.
Thank you. I don't mean to jump ahead of Terry if he had anything to say, and we have a very extensive memo. I'm the liaison from the Select Board to the Railroad Museum Working Group, which is a name that doesn't really have much currency, given that they've been around for working, quote, for a long, long time. And it's under very dynamic leadership right now with Gil Sparks and Liz McCart. And as many of us attended the first night opening the last couple of years, and they've expanded their openings into the fall. They now have heat in the building, thanks to the town. And so this is really acknowledging that they indeed are a committee of the town, and I greatly support this name change to the Chatham Railroad Museum Group. I'm sorry, committee, and I so move.
Right,
Second.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor, Select Board Member DeCastro.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. Next, consider special one-day alcohol permits. We have first the Creative Arts Center at 154 Crowell Road for a request for May 5th, 2024 from 4 to 5:30 p.m., June 2nd, 2024 from 4 to 5:30 p.m., July 14th, 2024 from 4 to 5:30 p.m., September 8th, 2024 from 4 to 5:30 p.m., and July 28th, 2024 from 6 to 8:30 p.m.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
I move to grant 4 special one-day alcohol permits for wine and malt beverages only to Amy Middleton of the Chatham Creative Arts Center, located at 154 Crowell Road, on the following dates: May 5th, 24, June 2nd, 24, July 14th, 24, and September 8th, 24, from 4 to 5 p.m. I move to grant 1 special one-day alcohol permit for all alcoholic beverages to Amy Middleton of the Chatham Creative Arts Center, located at 154 Crowell Road, on July 28th, 24, from 6 to 8:30.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Mr. Chair, go ahead, Jill.
Just a correction for the correction to the end time at 5:30, from 4 to 5:30 p.m.
For September 8th.
I'm sorry, yeah, for September, 4 to
September
5:30,
8th,
sorry.
yes.
Yep.
September
First one,
8th.
the 4 special one-day,
Oh, it's correct in the memo. It was just,
I misread it.
got lost in the.
Yes.
Yes.
First, May
Yes,
5th,
yes.
June 2nd, July 14th, September 8th are all 4 to 5.
Yes, they are, yep, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, I think we have a second.
Moved and seconded.
Okay, we have a second. Are we we're clear?
We're good.
Oh, we're good. All right. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, Select Board Member DeCastro.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metters as aye. We have a series of one-day alcohol permits requests for Chatham Historical Society at the Atwood Museum at 347 Stage Harbor Road. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant 7 special one-day alcohol permits for wine and beverage only to Kevin Wright of the Chatham Historical Society, located at the Atwood Museum on 347 Stage Harbor Road on the following dates: June 6, June 13, June 20, July 25, August 8, August 22, and August 29, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m.
And then there's a few
And
more.
there's-
Well, there's a second motion here. We can do it. All right. I further move to grant three special one-day alcohol permits for all alcoholic beverages to Kevin Wright of the Chatham Historical Society, located at the Atwood Museum on 347 Stage Harbor Road on the following dates: July 11 and July 18, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m., and July 13, 2024, from 5 to 7:30 p.m.
Is it 5 or 5:30? I have 5:30, my notes.
Kevin's here.
July 13th.
It's
July.
5 on the application.
Okay.
That was for our evening to remember.
Actually, just go up to the podium, please.
Yeah, there seemed to be a little bit of confusion about July 13th. That was for our Evening to Remember annual gala. And I'm not sure if Kathy received our actual application for that. So I thought she had, but
I think,
So for the one-day alcohol permit, the start time should be 5 or 5:30?
Per the application, 5 o'clock, 5 to 7:30
Okay,
PM. So
nope.
the motion was correct.
Thank
All right, the
you.
motion is correct.
July, say that again.
July 13th, from 5 to 7:30, 5 PM to 7:30 PM for the
One-day alcohol
one-day
permit.
alcohol. The confusion was on the entertainment, which is the next.
We're going to deal with it in a moment, yep.
Right.
All right, perfect. So we have a motion, we have a second. I think we're clear on the times, so all those in favor?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
The one for the, I'm sorry. July 13th. So who is managing the bar? It doesn't say.
that's, we have Wauquasit
Wauquasit's
Resort.
gonna come in and
is
actually
coming.
manage the bar.
They're doing, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Aye.
All right. Select Board Member Davis?
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens?
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell?
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. Next is consider special one-day entertainment licenses for the Chatham Historical Society at the Atwood Museum at 347 Stage Harbor Road. And this one, we have the question of July 13th. It was not listed it hasn't submitted in it. It was kind of an oversight. I think procedurally, I think the board has discretion to add this tonight. It was just kind of an oversight in the printing. Because it's the one day that doesn't correspond with all the other one-day alcohol licenses. So I'm reasonable in making that amendment.
So that's July 13th, 5 to 7:30 PM.
Correct.
To code.
To match with the one-day alcohol licenses
Miss-
that we just acted on.
Mr. Chair, I move to grant the special one-day entertainment licenses for live and amplified music inside the Mural Barn at Atwood Museum on June 6th, June 13th, June 20th, July 25th, August 8th, August 22nd, and August 29th, 2024, from 6:30 to 8 p.m., and on the lawn at the Atwood Museum on July 11th and 18th, 6 to 8. And for July 13th, that would be under the tent, or?
It's under the tent.
Under-
All the outdoor are under a
Okay.
tent, and it's
Uh,
more background music on July 13th.
Including July 13th from 5 to 7:30 p.m.
All right.
Second.
Second.
I have a question.
Further discussion, yep.
Kevin, you've done the outdoors one in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, last year was the first year we did one outdoor one. It was an evening of jazz. We've added a bluegrass bash this year.
Did you have any concerns from neighbors?
We didn't hear of any concerns.
Okay.
We try to keep it, we try not to get like, heavy metal, so.
Thank you.
Pretty
Thank you.
much it's good. So.
Aye.
All right, Select Board Member Davis?
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens?
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell?
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. Good luck, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, consider memorandum of understanding, MOU, between the Cape Light Compact and Town of Chatham for a part-time energy manager position shared with the towns of Brewster, Eastham, and Orleans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the town of Brewster for the past 3 years has partnered with the Cape Light Compact on having a part-time person who has the title of energy manager, and it's worked out very successfully. And so both Brewster and Cape Light Compact Executive Director had reached out to the towns of Chatham, Orleans, and Eastham, in addition to Brewster, to ask if we want to join to have a shared part-time energy manager. This person would serve in each of our towns 1 day a week, and the amount of time would be about 7.5 hours per day. They could work within a town office or with the permission of the town manager, work remotely. And it's a really interesting concept because many of us are doing the same type of programs. And so this person would be working on items such as our solar and solar storage projects, some of the behind the scenes, some of the monitoring, some of the reporting that's required, and also promoting each town's energy programs. And also what I felt was really important for us is the ability to apply for grants. And that's something that they're looking to have as a primary work, I guess, focus for that person. We also work, all of us are green communities, so there's reporting, there's grants that could be applied to us, and also monitoring our mass energy insight, which is tracking our energy usage and creating reports. So a lot of administrative work. And then in addition, looking at our electric vehicle charging infrastructure. This is something that we had talked about. A policy will be forthcoming to the board, I think, within the next 2 meetings, but also having someone with some expertise of working with the charging services providers and being able to get reports, monitor, and make sure that there's compliance. So there's a lot more to be done, but certainly we thought this was a really great first step for us as a pilot program for Chatham, and very successful in Brewster. Orleans and Brewster have already approved the MOU. We're waiting for Eastham. They were looking for to have at least 2 towns approve it before they do the recruitment. And the person would be a Cape Light Compact employee with benefits provided by them. And the fiscal impact for each town is exactly the same. And that would be $427 per week for 7.5 hours. And I expect it not to exceed $14,000 for Chatham through December 31st, 2024.
Questions or comments from the board? Jeff?
Yeah, Jill, I think it's great to share. I think it makes a lot of sense when you can do it regionally. And is this person already hired at Cape Light Compact? And has he or she been anointed or appointed, or do we have the benefit of interview, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so no, the person who had the position has since left. They did a lot of great work, so they're looking to advertise for the position, and the town managers will have input into that as well.
So, but the position was in Brewster last year, for a couple of years now, and
Yes.
that person has since left?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll be doing a little search or whatever, or Cape Light Compact will be doing this.
KELOC, yeah, they'll be handling all the recruitment, again, having the town managers involved for interviews, because they will be the person will be in our town.
Just a quick question on the person that held that position in Brewster. Were they certified? Were they an engineer? Did they the kind of background that we need?
I don't know, but I would presume Brewster's been very successful with their program, so I would imagine that person had a certain level of expertise. We've used the Cape Light Compact to help us with our green community reports too, so they definitely have someone to mentor if someone is newer to the profession, but they're well experienced with it and want to understand what are the qualifications that we need.
One other quick follow-up. The person reports to whom? Cape Light Compact?
It would be to me, the town manager.
Okay, so, but kind of matrix, because they're going to be an employee of the Cape Light.
They're an employee of the Cape Light Compact.
Okay, so locally they report to you, but the Cape Light would be directing them, or you'd be directing them here in Chatham?
I think from what I understand, I believe that the Brewster Town Administrator had directed them, but again, they have certain reporting requirements back to their employer, Cape Light Compact. So it's been a successful model, it's just that we haven't participated. So those questions all can be fine-tuned and asked. And again, this MOU does expire on December 31st, 2024. If we want to continue, we can certainly extend it. And I'm sure the person who ever gets hired will understand it's technically a grant-funded position, but we're the ones providing the funding.
You've already got the funds secured?
I do, and so thank you for asking about
Yep,
that.
yep.
So in Chatham, we made a conscious effort, so any of the revenues that come in from any of our solar or green energy projects go to the general fund. Other towns have it go specifically to offset staffing. We haven't set that up yet, so I do have the consulting and engineering account, and this would be pretty much a consultant for 1 day a week, and I was going to have it come out of that account.
Thank you, Jill. I like the fact that we're sharing resources. Thanks.
Dean?
I just have a couple of questions, and I endorse the idea of sharing resources, as Jeff just said. I'm looking at the memorandum of understanding. So this person is referred to as the town of Chatham's energy manager?
That's how they proposed it, but each town, this person would be the energy manager as a title in each town, understanding it's 1 day a week, and they felt it was a competitive title to get someone who was higher level.
And I appreciate the description of duties. It's the term manager that causes me to ask this question. What is the authority of this person? Can this person adopt or impose energy or initiatives upon the town, or is it implementing initiatives that have been approved by the town?
Yeah, implementing those or doing research for future initiatives, I would consider it probably a staff level position, maybe something of like how Terry Whalen is able to research and plan and provide recommendations, but the person wouldn't self-direct themselves to implement any of the policies
So they
or
would
programs.
conceivably provide recommendations to Terry or to you,
Yes,
and if they required approval by the board, you would come to us.
yes.
It also says that this person would provide staff support to the Energy and Climate Action Committee. Is that in substitution of Terry's role as the liaison?
No, and actually, I'm not having that person. This is the same scope of work for all of the towns.
Okay.
For us, I didn't feel that that would give us the most bang for the buck. We already have 4 staff liaisons to that committee right now, but certainly if they're looking at a new initiative, this person could help do the research and the planning.
So this would be complementary to the work of the other staff?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, well, you've anticipated one of my questions, which is it's not a question, it's an observation that with all of the things that this person is supposedly going to do, they're probably going to have to be some prioritization of what they're doing for us in their 7.5 hours a week. And that's just a comment, and I'm sure you're on top of that. The one thing that I did want to ask about is, in terms of grant writing and solicitation, I see a potential for conflict among the towns, and I guess I'll say, is there a process, or do you anticipate looking at the question of dealing with the possibility that where 2 or more towns are looking for the same money or the money for the same kind of project where this person has a kind of a split loyalty?
I think that the town managers will be in contact with each other. Regardless if this person put forward the grant application, we're still competing against other towns. I think this provides a better opportunity for like a regional program or shared programs. If we're looking at policy development, I'm just trying to think of, like, particular to Chatham, a lot of our green energy work has been on more of the infrastructure replacement, but I'm sure there's an education component that we can go for. So the 4 town managers are pretty competitive as well, so I think that we'll try to work. If we have to do something that's going to carve out, then we'll use our own staff people. But I don't think that this will compete. I think if anything, it will give us just a step closer to some regional programs we can do together.
Thank you.
Further questions? I mean, you're essentially saying this is a grant-funded program for the most part?
Yes, with the towns providing the grant funds.
Right, so, I mean, I'm open to trying it. I mean, if it goes until December 2024, we have basically a short window to assess it. We have basically less than a year. You know, I'm supportive of trying to collectively pull our resources between other communities to get the same work done. I just hope that, you know, a 7.5-hour work week per town can keep that person focused in an efficient manner, but, I'm open to giving it a try. So, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. All right, further discussion? All those in favor, Select Board Member DeCastro.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. Last item of our evening is the Town Manager's Monthly Report for the month of February 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We were able to get the annual town meeting warrant posted today, and it's at the printer, so I want to shout out to everyone, but in particular to Kathy and Shauna. They just did a really great job. This is Kathy's first ever warrant behind the scenes versus just going to a town meeting and voting, so she got to see how the sausage was made and certainly has some ideas for moving forward, so I'm very excited about that. The warrant is posted on the website as well as the scorecard. If people want to follow along at town meeting, they can certainly print that out, or we'll have that available. So we have 47 articles, and town meeting, just as a reminder, it's on May 13th, and it starts at 6 p.m. at the Monomoy Regional Middle School, and childcare will be provided. The warrant cover has information on how to make a reservation for childcare, and certainly more information will come out with Shauna promoting the event.
Okay.
We also, did you have?
Nope, I didn't know if that was a question. Nope.
Okay. We also have years of service anniversaries for our team Chatham for April. We have Steve Leavenworth, who many of you know from the transfer station as a heavy equipment operator for 29 years. Sergeant Bill Massey for 19 years. Melanie Taylor in the assessor's office for 7 years. Christopher, I always get his name, Tentowski. You'll see him at the transfer station. He's been here for 6 years. Our own Chatham TV, Mark Van Bork, as our media coordinator, has been here for 6 years, and Toby Telesmanic is our facilities technician, and he's been here for 5 years. As I noted before, happy retirement to Harbor Master Stuart Smith, and so again, we're going to have his last coffee this coming Friday on the 29th at 10 a.m. here at the Annex. Also, I try to highlight Chatham TV productions, and they're doing a really cool series with the Council and Aging Center for Active Living. So there's a must-see TV. It's seafaring stories, and I know we got requests from some community, our community channel, so not our public access channel, but another channel through local government to also air this. So it is available on our YouTube channel, and we can get it from our town website. Then the tree removal at Eldridge Public Library is happening. It's Wednesday, the 27th, weather permitting. We'll have police details, and the horse chestnut tree will be cut into 4-foot sections and donated to the Friends of Trees for repurposing. So the DPW has been very involved, and thanks to our Deputy Director, Tom Barr, for getting us to this point.
Jill?
Yes.
And so Friends of Trees are gonna, where's the wood gonna go? I mean, we talked about saving the wood, or the Friends of Trees making some recommendations. Do we have a plan on that yet?
So what I was told is that the wood isn't the type of wood that we can make benches out of. And I think they were thinking of something smaller. I had heard some talk about wood bowls, but I'm not quite sure. I can certainly follow up with the team to find out.
I would love to hear if there's an artist outreach or call to artists, if that's the case. But that doesn't speak to where the wood's gonna be stored in the interim.
I'll check and I'll report
Okay,
back.
thank you.
Thanks, Shereen.
Yeah. Community survey, community housing survey for the housing production plan. That's live for people to respond to, and it's available through Sunday, April 14th. And the housing production plan, the survey could be accessed through the housing page on our town website. And again, the usual but not so usual information about town departments. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Questions or comments from the board? Nope. Nope. Again, I love these reports. It's a very important tool for us, in all sincerity. So, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Second. All those in favor, Select Board Member DeCastro.
Aye.
Select Board Member Davis.
Aye.
Select Board Member Dykens.
Aye.
Select Board Member Shell.
Aye.
And Select Board Member Metter says aye. Good night, everyone.